All right. Warlet falling down into YF. All right, let's do it.
Riff.
Wow.
Warlet from Brazil. This is my wildcard for my Studio Beatbox America 2022.
The same guy that does a lot of the audio for BBU did her wildcard, by the way.
I'm hiding, cause they find me when I'm falling down. Top up away, could they pop away?
Nice.
When I'm falling down.
Like the bullet, like the brakes.
I love this routine. The melodies.
Life in a mess. I've been dying. Almost confessed, though. But like when they're lying, they can't pass me. They can't pass me. I don't care. You can't keep crying. What you ask it for?
Ooh.
Walk you the players while they play the game.
Wow, nice. Nice. So, while the mixing might be great, when the situation that she recorded in is like, it's not like a sound booth or anything like that. So there are
Definitely not.
Yeah, there are certain things that become more obvious. Like there are some pitch things that are just like really, really, really subtle that if she were in the same room, you probably wouldn't catch. But this sort of like recording environment emphasizes it a little bit. But it's also, I want to talk about that not because I want to belabor the fact that she was flat here and there. Like there's like 2 or 3 instances and flat happens. And you know, it's not like she did multiple takes. It was all in one take, right? So, but this is one of the things I want to point out because it's extremely difficult to navigate going up without using any sort of tilt, and I'll explain that in a moment. So this is the moment I was talking about. So navigating like transitions between registers, kind of for lack of a better term, without doing a tilt is hard. It's things just get easier when you tilt. So there's 2 different tilts that can happen in larynx. So in the last video I made of her, we talked about the thyroid cartilage tilt. This is what creates vibrato, and by when you tilt the thyroid cartilage, it stretches out the vocal folds. And so they're more likely to come together, right? Because they're stretching out like a rubber band, right? So there's more reduction. As a result, there's also more power, right? So if you're beatboxing and you're doing a bunch of plosives and consonants and all this other stuff, doing this, like it interrupts the line. It just interrupts you doing the thing. So she's choosing not to use this. The other tilt is the cricoid cartilage tilt. There's some debate over whether or not this is a thing. For now, it's the most popular theory on how belting works. So the cricoid cartilage tilts up and has the opposite effect in that it shortens the vocal folds and makes them fatter. And that's how you would belt. In both cases, it makes navigating higher notes significantly easier. By stretching out the vocal folds, they're thinner and they're more power and they're less likely to flip open in a way that's not unpleasant, right? Whereas if you're doing what she's doing, these are not stretched out at all. They're not fattened. Nothing is like, all she can do is stiffen the folds, and then she has to navigate registers without any help from any of the stuff that I just talked about. So that's why this is a bit more impressive than Let's On, and why, even though she's a really good singer, that these transitions end up becoming very difficult. Right? Like, navigating through that is really, really tough. Also, props to her, because going this high without the help of a tilt is also really challenging. She has to thin her folds significantly. Now, the little hack here that she's doing, and I talked about this in my codfish video, she's humming. That is extremely helpful to achieve this. Oh, boosh, vocal tract. Here we go. So this is the pharynx, the soft palate, right? So when this is closed, when your lips are closed, the only exit for air to go is going to be your nostrils. When you do this, it's way easier. It makes life way easier. When you lower your soft palate to let air through the nose, it's like a pressure release, right? Instead of air having to go right, and hang around here for a little bit, it just goes straight up, boom. There's not really any resistance to the flow of air, right? It just goes straight up and out the nose. So it's like a release valve. So by using this, and by making it easier on her life, that's how she can go so high. Well, one of the reasons. The other reason is that she's just using very little air. It's a lot of control that she's demonstrating. So by having this, whether or not she's intending to do that, if she's like mapped out, it doesn't matter. She's doing it, right? So that's how she can achieve such a high note with no tilt while having to do consonants and then doing a run navigating registers. It's extremely difficult.
It's pretty risky to go for such a high note. Yeah.
The difficulty is less. It's not necessarily the high note. It's the transitions between registers. That's the difficult part. Because she doesn't have any help. It's all going to be breath and vowels. But this is why some of her stuff is super sick. Like some of her bass sounds that are based off of like resonance and vowels and a placement, for lack of a better term. Vowels.
I've been dying.
Moment right here. So this is something I think a lot of people intuit this in beatboxing. This goes back to, like, you know, if you make your instrument larger by extending the lips, by virtue of the fact that your vocal tract is longer, you're going to give emphasis to lower frequencies. And then also you can do things like an O vowel sounds pretty nice, down low, evals as well. So she's using some of her knowledge of resonance, or her ability to execute resonance. Like, that might not hit as hard as like someone who has a bigger face hole or a mouth, but that hits pretty hard, all things considered. So yeah.